microphone. Oh, there we go. One more round of applause for Chris Lavoie. It was a great presentation. For all your years at Reborn and in the business as a contractor, there's your genuine top 500 plaque. Congratulations. Thank you. At this time, I'm really excited to bring up a panel of experts who've been speaking on and off at Top 500 Live for many years. These are the answer people. These are people who work with contractors all the time. And on the subject of lead gen and marketing, there's no better group of people. I'm going to ask a few questions. We're going to start with an introductory statement about what's working right now from each of them. And then we're going to go into Q&A from you. And we'll wrap it up at 12:15 for lunch. And then we have one more section this afternoon. But at this time, I would like you all to give a warm welcome to Amy Zimmerman, Brian Kaskavalciyan, Rich Harshaw, and Chris Behan. So Amy, you're... Now we got it right. Okay. All right. So Amy Zimmerman is a columnist for Qualified Remodeler, writes about marketing, creates a lot of leads for a big home improvement company, Florida Window and Door. You get to summarize for the audience what's working now in a couple of minutes, and then we'll move on to Brian. And so go ahead.
So I'm relatively new to Florida Window and Door. I started there first week of July. So I inherited things, and so literally the first couple months was just sort of uncovering what was going on. And I've made some changes. So what's working now? So we instituted a direct mail program. I think I talked about that yesterday, where we downloaded our whole database. The direct mail company that I use, they're called IWCO. They're located around the Minneapolis area. They do a great job. There are other companies out there. That's who I'm using. I used them at Great Day, and I used them before for a couple of programs. And so they will they do a great job with data and uncovering things from data. So they created a direct mail piece for us. They created a lookalike audience of our best customers, and we did that. Also doing some video with AI. I have an agency that's creating some AI videos for me that we're using a software called QuickPage that is to text out to customers. We're not using it in it's really more for small businesses because you can text out a picture, you can text out a video of the guy who's coming and he can record it on his way, guy or woman. But we're creating sort of these Shelly, the turtle, who's our mascot. We're creating some cool videos to text out. So I have them doing 4 videos. One, once the appointment is set, we're texting out a cute video where Shelly says, why replacing your windows is a good thing to do and why Florida Window and Door is the company to do it with. Second video is for no-shows. It's Shelly like, wah, wah, we came to your house and you weren't there. Let's get you back on the schedule and get those windows in your home. The third one is for a demo no sale. So we went out, we pitched, we obviously, didn't hit it out of the park. And so, hey, it's Shelly saying, hey, let's get it together and see how we can get those windows in your home. And the fourth one is after a completed sale, just for a kind of an anti-rescission. So we're working on those 4 videos, about 1.5 minutes. So that's something new that we're doing. I also developed a jingle because Shelly needed a jingle. So I talked about that yesterday. So soon to annoy homeowners all over Florida. And we're working on a new website. So I think the old website there wasn't enough content there. So adding more content, also working more on, and this is something that Senya and I talked about yesterday, working on our LinkedIn page and our Facebook page for more content. Like, what does it feel like to work at Florida Window and Door? It's as much for customers as it is for prospective employees. So people are looking to see sort of who you are, and if every single thing you're posting is a job ad, and not anything about the culture, not anything about awards that you've won, you're missing out on opportunities to influence people who might come to your company looking for more information about what that culture is like. So done a really big job on the social media side as well. So I don't know that that's necessarily what's working. Is, if you say, is this working, is this working, is this working? The direct mail program worked. TV is working for us, and we're developing new and exciting adventures of Shelley. It's going to be more of a story going forward, so I'm probably going to do a little bit longer format TV spots going forward so we can tell a bit more of a story. Yes, it's got to be direct response. We've got to ask them to call now. But I think making Shelley more of a character is what's coming. So sorry, I don't know if that was
That's pretty good summary. That's a lot, Amy.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Ambitious. All right, so Brian came prepared with a couple of slides. Brian from the Wealthy Contractor podcast and Accelerate event. Good, take it away.
So I'm going to talk, I'm going to talk to you guys about, I'm going to go a little unsexy and talk about how do you get more out of your marketing budget? How do you get more out of your marketing budget? We know today that leads are harder and harder to come by. They're getting more and more expensive. These two guys are going to talk to you about how to get more and more. Let me talk to you about how to stretch your budget so you can make a little bit more money. So you guys already, probably a lot of you, let me see. Here we go. So there's a couple of different ways we can look at this. We can look at this as efficiencies, and then we can look at opportunity. So efficiency, how do we get better? And I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing this, so I'm not going to spend much time on this. I'm going to talk more about opportunity. But how do you, if you guys are, there's been a lot of talk about KPIs, knowing your numbers, understanding how the numbers work. So efficiency is all about improving those numbers. So if we can improve our inquiry to set rate, you guys already know that that's going to trickle down and should result in more sales. So that's efficiency. But let's talk about opportunity. What would it mean to your bottom line if you got just 10% more jobs out of your current marketing budget? What would that mean to your bottom line? Well, I'll tell you, it'll add a significant amount to your bottom line. So I've got some numbers here, but let's just say you generate your $5 million company, generated an additional $500,000 out of the exact same marketing budget. What would that mean to your bottom line? More than likely, it's going to, depending on your pricing model, it's probably going to drop that incremental 500,000, probably drop a couple $100,000 of pure profit to your bottom line. So how do you get that? Where can you find it? You'll find it in these three places: rehash, repeat business, and referral. Oh, wow, thank you. It is shocking to me how many companies do not have a rehash program set up. I was going to ask you to raise hands, but let's not do that. We'll protect the guilty here, right? So you got to put a rehash program in place. Just because they didn't buy tonight doesn't mean they won't buy tomorrow, next week, next month, or even next year. What are you doing with your unconverted leads? What are you doing with your appointments that did not run? You need a rehash program for all of them. And you got to look at multi-channel too, not just, slamming them on the phone every 10 minutes, but how do you use multi-channel approach? How do you hit them with email? How do you use text messaging, as part of the mix? The other thing is, and you guys have heard me, some of you have heard me talk about this before, is repeat and referral. So during the whole COVID boom, we were all flush with leads. Things came in. We were good, we were busy, we were moving forward. Now we got to go back to the old school stuff. We got to go back to the fundamentals of this business. And that means that if you are not going after your customers to get more business from them, to get referrals from them, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. A couple of interesting things for you, and then I'll pass to Rich. So how do you do this with repeat and referral? Repeat generally starts 18 to 24 months after you've done the job. So you install a job today, They won't be thinking about their next job for 18 to 24 months, okay? With referrals, one of the things we found at G4 Marketing is that with referrals, almost 60%, 58% of referrals came in a year after the job was completed. I was shocked by that. I couldn't believe that number. So what is your job? Your job is to make sure you're staying in touch with every single one of your customers. I'm a big believer in old school newsletters. We do digital and we do print. Get in front of your customers, talk to them, educate them, entertain them, engage with them, and they will come back and they will buy more and they will send their friends to you.
All right, Rich is next. Brian, thank you. Good summary.
All right, I'm going to stand up if that's okay. I got a bum knee, so it's kind of weird to sit here. How y'all doing today? I'm Rich Harshaw. I have a company called Level 10 Contractor. We are a marketing agency that works specifically in the remodeling and home services industry. What I want to share with you is something called the Unified Contractor Marketing Framework. Whoops. That guy's one step ahead of me. There we go. And this stems from working with contractors for years and years and years. And there was a time and place where we were working with contractors mostly in the $2 to $5 million range. And with inflation, there's now inflation in what is a decent sized home improvement company. So 5 to 10 is kind of the new decent size. But we found that with companies that are in the $10+ million range, some of the services that we're offering weren't really hitting the mark. So started thinking about this and came up with this idea of the Unified Contractor Marketing Framework, which is, as you can see on the screen, a single integrated system that connects all of the elements of marketing, all of your marketing, brand identity, lead generation, media buying, sales, conversion, technology, tracking into one cohesive strategy. So I want to talk about this just for about 2 or 3 minutes here. And there's what I call the 4 I's. They're easy to understand: identity, integration, iteration, and investment. So what we're talking about is pulling all of this into one sphere instead of having a scattered set of marketing things happening all over the place in different silos. So the first one is identity. If anybody knows me or has heard me talk anytime in the last 25 years, I'm always talking about identity. Identity is the following: words, phrases, and images articulated with power, precision, and passion that instantly, definitively communicate who you are, how you're different or better, what customers can expect. This is telling your story, becoming a master storyteller. Because if you don't master this element, identity, having a profound and powerful story in the marketplace, in all of your marketing and advertising, website, SEO, et cetera, then here's what's going to happen. Everything else is going to be automatically disconnected. This has to be mastered first. It's called identity. Next is integration. One brain, one plan, one story. Here's the problem. You've got multiple vendors and agencies. There's no communication between them. This could be internal folks that are working for you. There's no shared data. There's no consistency. There's no cross-platform learning. You've got a Frankenstein marketing plan. I was on the phone the other day with a $1 billion+ company, 14 locations. I asked them about their content marketing plan and how is it connected to their meta plan, which is, by the way, a $2 million a week spend. And they said there's no communication. They have no contact with each other. They're completely separate. Why are you not learning from content marketing and integrating it into your paid advertising? That's insane. And the answer is Frankenstein. Next is iteration. This is the 3rd I. The iteration playbook looks like this. For pay-per-click and paid social particularly, generating 2 to 3 campaigns with 6 to 8 ads each, also 2 different landing pages for each, making sure that you are rapidly iterating and learning what's working and leaning into it. Here's how most agencies work, and perhaps your own internal people, if you've got internal people doing this. We run the ads, we wait a week, we wait 2 weeks, we wait 3 weeks, we see what happens, and then maybe we do something. And most of the time, they're taking your money and not actively doing anything. You guys know this because we used to do this to you. They quit. They were smart. We got better. Monitor results daily, on the daily. How is it working? Leaning into what's working so that you're always on the forefront. And if you're integrated, then what? You can take what's learning and working here, and you can integrate it now into television, OTT, radio, pay-per-click, website content. It all needs to work together. And then investment's the fourth I. You treat it like paying rent. You pay, you get leads, you repeat. That's how your marketing works. Marketing should be wealth building, wealthy contractor. Hunting, direct response, gets you leads today. But farming is an area where you need to really look strongly. Feeding tomorrow and forever, planting crops. This is gonna be your SEO. This is gonna be your television. This is gonna be your OTT. This is gonna be your radio. And most importantly, for 2025 and into 2026, your content marketing program. It's free to distribute. It costs money to produce it. If you do it right, people will find you. This is going to compound and create stability. Okay, I just said that. So, identity is your foundation, integration is your systems, iteration is accelerating everything, investment is going to lead to longevity. So that's what I have for you, and I'd be happy to take any questions on that when we get to the Q&A.
Yeah, we'll do some question Q&A in a second. Thank you, Rich Harshaw. Now, Chris Behan.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Behan with TrueVol. We're a digital marketing company. My background is about 31 years of digital marketing, almost exclusively in the home service industry. Probably the biggest question that we ever get is, what are the single biggest opportunities to generate more leads efficiently? How do we do that? I'm going to briefly talk to you about two different ways that we can do that now. The first thing that I will tell you is that you have to understand that your website is the center of your marketing universe. It is not just about SEO. It's not just about paid social or paid media or whatever it might be. It's about every single form of advertising that you're currently doing, your TV, your radio, your direct mail, your home shows. All of those things send traffic directly to our website, to your website. We've known this for a very, very long time. This was something that was driven home for me in recent years, where I took a job as a president of a company where I did Toyota's corporate digital marketing. And I got to see what absolute massive advertising does to a Google Analytics package. The problem is that your website, on average, has about a 95% fail rate. It fails to convert the traffic that came to your website about 95% of the time. There's not a single spot in your business, not in your call center, your in-home sales, where you would accept a 95% fail rate. This is the answer. You have to get more efficient with how you convert traffic. There's a delta between user experience, as you see down the sidewalk there, and the user interface and user experience. User interface is how you designed your website. It's all of the ideas that you think should work on your website. It is not how users actually engage with your website. There's a big, big delta between those two things, and our job is to close that delta, to bring that together a little bit. So testing and experimentation is absolutely critical. You have to be testing different things on your websites, from different page layouts to speed testing, to different call to actions, to different offers. Multi-channel is one of the biggest opportunities for everybody here. Your traffic takes in all different types of traffic: direct traffic, traffic from home shows, from direct mail, from TV, whatever it might be. And all of those users behave very, very differently. The job of your homepage is to abbreviate conversion processes and not elongate them. Some agencies will tell you that 8 minutes on site is a good thing. I think they're lost. They'll tell you 10, 12 pages visited per session is a good thing. I think they're confused. The goal is to build unique experiences by channel. So one thing that very smart companies are doing, this is not reserved for very large companies, it's small, medium-sized companies are doing this as well, is we're building out unique experiences by marketing channel. We can't treat someone that came in off of a TV ad the same way that they came in from an organic search. We can't treat direct mail the same way as we treat a TV user. We need unique experiences that load dynamically. We have to begin to personalize experiences. This makes a huge difference when you go down this road. It will change how you market in every single way. In fact, one example with a very large established company that already had an excellent conversion rate of 9%, quickly jumped to 12%, a 30-something% increase in the conversion rate of your website. Could you imagine converting 30% more of your traffic? I mean, what that does to your marketing costs and your flexibility and how you go to market. This is the future, is personalized experiences and delivering those experiences on the fly. Example, one thing for everyone here, QR code driven traffic. If you do TV advertising, use a QR code in direct mail or whatever it might be, those people behave very, very differently. It's a completely different demographic compared to someone that you met at a home show. Unique experiences is the way forward. And the last thing that I'll talk about, this was briefly talked about because it's right, is we all have data. Everyone talks about their data. And the data's got to talk, this person's got to talk to that person, this person needs to share information with that way. That's great. And you have to do that because Google, Meta, whatever it might be, they're all learning algorithms at this point. If you're not feeding them data, that algorithm is not learning effectively. The problem is it takes too much time to share this data. You have to get with you, build spreadsheets, build reports, whatever it might be, share that data out. Connectivity in your data is what's most important. The data has to be automatically connected. Using something like a customer data platform that lives in the middle of your processes will automate all of those things for you. So like an example, when we generate a lead online, it enters your CRM. I know it went into your CRM automatically. The customer data platform automatically communicates that. I automatically know the disposition, whether you set or you issued it. I know if it was a run, no sale, or a sale, or a sale. Then I take that information and feed it back to the ad platform every single day automatically. No labor whatsoever, no fail points between people and organizations. And what that does is, I mentioned earlier, Google, Meta, Facebook, all of these things are learning algorithms. If you're not feeding them data consistently, daily, then there's nothing for them to learn off of. You're always gonna have those high lead costs. You're always gonna have lead quality problems. It's one of those things that this will, automation of your data and the connectivity of that data will absolutely change how you market. Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 microphones. We're going to go straight to the audience. We have 14 and a half minutes. Ignore that clock right there. 14 and a half minutes, and then we're going to go for lunch. So this panel of experts is here at your disposal. So when you raise your hand with a question, just say your name and company name, and then if you could, just direct it at one of these individuals, and I'll try to handle it. So who's got a question for our marketing and lead gen panel? Anybody got a hand raiser? Okay, because I've got some questions too, but I think it's more important that you get yours answered.
Can't see a question, come on.
Yep, go ahead, sir.
Billy Klein, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I own a company called YourNewDoor.com. I attended a lot of home service events, people like where you meet guys like Tommy Mello and Ken Goodrich, guys that are in home service. And it seems like in home service, I see that brand and brand presence is talked about a whole lot more than what I see here in home improvement shows, where a lot of the sponsors are lead aggregators. So it just seems like, from an outside looking in perspective, that brand is much more important to the home service people than home improvement people. Can you tell me if I'm wrong in that observation and how you guys feel? I've heard a lot of people talk about brand from the stage. I personally believe brand over everything. It should drive everything downstream, but it's not exactly what I perceive when I walk the floor.
All right, I think we are going to summarize that and give it to Amy Zimmerman, and then Brian.
Well, I was just going to ask a clarifying question.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
What do you consider brand? When you're saying brand and that you don't see it as much here, can you give a little more detail on what specifically you mean by brand?
Yeah, so lead aggregators and different ways to generate leads really depend nothing on brand, right? They're demand or transactional. Brand is more relational. So bigger picture brand, like yesterday Amy talked about TV and things like that, is building a relationship with your audience over time.
So they're seeking the company out.
Correct.
Instead of just a provider.
Yeah.
I think we got the picture. Thank you very much. It's a good question. So it's questions about brand and the differences between home services and home improvement. And I wonder, Amy, we'll start with you. What's the goal with brand?
Well, you alluded to it, that I spoke about it yesterday. So I think you just need to make the time to do the branding. I think the reason why people don't brand is A, they probably don't know how, and B, they're trying to fill the funnel every day. I'm telling you, like, we're all on a treadmill. Like we're running. And I've got sales reps in the back of my head, you know, it's like, oh my God, I need 77 leads. I need 85 leads. So, you know, you have to kind of slow that down and make the time to think about what does your company look like in not just in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. And so I've been taking a lot of time with Shelly, the turtle, and created the mascot, and she's in every commercial. She's in not every single Meta ad or post, even though Scott Berman, our owner, is like, where's Shelly? I said, oh my God, people are like, you have to mix it up. She can't be in every single post. But I think you're right, but you have to set a budget for it, and you have to do it intentionally. Like even direct mail, where I expected a return on the direct mail, it was heavily branded about Florida Window and Door and why we're better, and Shelly and our colors and the experience that makes us different, and Category 5 hurricane windows, and you know, double lifetime warranty, and all of those things that like we think sort of brand us as different. And so I think it's really just setting aside the time and the dollars, a percentage of your spend, for this is going to be specifically for the brand, because that's a slow burn. That's going to take some time, and you can't expect immediate gratification. This is such an immediate gratification business. Like I sold it tonight. I got the lead today. So I think like none of us have a really long attention span, and I think that's probably why we're all in this business, because it's fun, right? And it moves quickly. But we have to have a long-term strategy on building that brand. And it's not just like everything needs to be green and blue or orange and brown. It's about what that brand, you know, I had a quote yesterday, your brand, it was a Jeff Bezos quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but your brand is what people talk about when you're not in the room. It's what they say about you when you're not there. So it's not what we think it is. And so you have to also constantly be measuring what the consumer's perception of your brand is. It's not just what we're telling them it is.
So just if one of you guys have something to add on brand, we'll do it really quick. Tight.
I was just going to say, I find the brand conversation always very interesting. You know, in this business, we're all about direct response. One of the big differences between home services and home improvements is home services is a need-based business. Something breaks, toilet overflows, garage door doesn't open, so boom, you got to go and find somebody. Well, we're creating demand in our industry. We're creating demand. And so it's about direct response. We need leads. Brand to me, brand is everything you do from the moment somebody lands on a website, picks up a phone and calls you. Anything that has to do with your company, that is your moment. Now you're on stage. That's where you start building a brand. And then what I was talking about, like repeat referral, that is if you've done a good job with the customer experience, you've built a brand now with your customers. Don't let them forget who you are. Stay in touch with them over and over again. That's just my take on it.
Do you have anything to add, Rich?
Yeah, I do. If you look at the 4 I's that I talked about, the first one's identity, telling your story. This is what needs to be the forefront of everything you do, from your website to your advertisement to your SEO to your pay-per-click, even the landing pages. So that's going to be the start. The 4th I was investment, and this is where I was talking about going from, when you're a small company, you have to generate leads, like you're talking about. You have to, because you got to keep your salespeople busy. If you're doing $10 million in sales and you don't have at least 20% of your budget in farming, you're doing it wrong. And when you get to 20 million, it should be 30, 40%. When you get to 50 million, it'll go over 50%. And then the small guys wonder why they're getting killed. They have no brand. This is a mindset that you have to take. You have to divorce yourself from the constant drip of lead gen. It's there. You got to maximize it. But if you don't do this branding part of it and invest accordingly, I really think you're going to struggle to grow where you want to go.
Thanks, Rich.
Yeah, and very briefly, like I tell people all the time, you're more than the sum of the products that you offer. You know, the goal of your brand is to decommoditize your product a little bit. I mean, I can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, and Menards and get a lot of what everyone here sells, maybe even at a lower price. So you have to be telling your brand story. You have to be talking about your organization, how you go to market, what your why is. Like, why are you even in this business to begin with? Because people like that. I mean, especially the younger generations really, really connect to brand stories. And it's not something that you have to spend millions of dollars on. I'm not necessarily talking about branding. I'm talking about presenting your brand in a clear and concise way that motivates people to action.
That was a good question. Rick Sugarman, we have a microphone for Rick. All right, well, we'll do this one and then your question.
He's got a mic.
All right, question in the back first and then Rick, you, okay.
Jordan Winnar, Zion Outdoors. There's a lot of talk about websites. Do you want to be on the site a long time, or do you want to be there a real short amount of time? And then I'd love to know from your 4 perspectives and maybe 100 years of experience up there, what are the best 3 to 4 websites we could look and emulate in the industry?
Who wants to take that? Okay,
I could jump in and give you my take on how long people should be on websites. You know, I mentioned earlier that the goal of the homepage specifically is to abbreviate conversion processes and not elongate them. The reason the homepage is built that way is because a lot of the people that come to your homepage were driven there by offline advertising, or they search the name of your organization directly. They are predisposed to already working with you. And what you want as a homepage structure is a very, very long homepage that tells the entire story of the organization from top to bottom, has persistent call to actions that follow them down, that has very engaging galleries that meets the consumer where they are at. So for homepage traffic, you know, less is a little bit better. Like if I can convert you in less than a minute, that is the goal on my homepage. Now, deeper pages in the website, if they're coming in and they search something like replacement windows or bathtubs or whatever it might be, then you look for a little bit more depth of session. You look for a little bit more engagement. You look for more time on site. You look for them looking information about the organization, not just about the product. So there's more than one answer to make that correct, and it should be a very data-driven answer for you.
Anybody else have thoughts on the question about websites? Any good examples?
I don't have any great examples, but I have a quick point about that. And one of the things that you have to keep in mind, and I don't know if anyone has an agency that's working on their website for them or that's doing paid search for them, the majority of people, even sweepstakes entries, they're entering on their phone. So we're all looking at our website on a desktop and like, oh, this looks so nice. People are looking at it the majority of people are looking at your website on their phone. So I would encourage everyone to, you're saying like, what's one of the best websites? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I steal things from everybody and make them my own all day. But I think all day. So, but I think that if you're looking for what the best website is, I would look at what the best, I don't know, Chris might disagree with me, but the majority of people are filling out forms, like long forms sometimes, and setting appointments on a phone. So when you're thinking about what that website looks like, people are used to just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling on the phone like they do with TikTok and Instagram. And so it's to have all of your information scrollable on that homepage, to me seems super important, because that, I'm a TikTok person, so I'm on Instagram sometimes, stalking my son and seeing what he's doing because he tells me nothing. So, but I think that you need to keep in mind how people are using their phones to get in touch with you, and how people are actually using your website to set appointments and to ask for more information.
I completely agree.
Yay.
Rich, real quick, and then we'll do.
If I could wave a magic wand and have whatever I wanted, I would have every prospect that ends up sitting in front of you in the house had been on your website for 20 plus minutes. I'm a big, lots of time on the website guy. The problem is most of you don't have enough information that's worthwhile to keep them going for 20 minutes. It's all about social proof. It's all about identity. It's all about helping them understand. Realize 85% of the people that ever buy from you have never bought this thing before, and it's $15,000 to $30,000 or whatever your price point is. It's a big decision. If you can facilitate their information gathering process, their understanding process, they will absorb it like a sponge. Problem? It's mostly not there on your websites. There's nothing to absorb. So we default and go, well, people have short attention spans. They didn't want to see it anyway. It's not true.
All right. Thanks. That was a good question, Rick.
The way of the future, I really believe heavily in meta advertising, massive content creation, just continuing to put out new creative, and spending a lot of money behind it. There's so much testing data that can come back from it. I don't hear a lot of talk about that in this year's conference. I'm wondering, am I missing it? Do you disagree that this is one of the fundamental opportunities over the next 2 to 3 years as AI and Google start to index social, or should I be looking at something else?
Who wants that?
Well, I completely agree with everything you said. You have to have a diverse content program. You have to be living in the social space. You know, before I came in here, I wrote down, a few words, but it really kind of boils down to experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And that's how you build what you just talked about. You build out really good content. You attach authority to it. You build in trust, you bake trust into those pages. That's what AI is indexing at this point. They're constantly looking at different websites to collect their information, and it changes constantly. 6 months ago, Reddit was one of their #1 sources. Then they realized how bad the information can be on Reddit, and now it's about 12% from a sourcing standpoint. It has plummeted in its authority. So you have to build out that big authoritative thing. You have to be baking in social into all of those things. So I think you're 100% correct. I mean, that's going to be the wave of the future with how we go to market.
Oh, sorry. I have one quick thing one quick thing to say. So one way that you can affect content, and we did a little bit of this at Great Day, had a great social media person, is through influencers. And it doesn't need to be an influencer who's like, I don't know, like I can't think of influencers. I don't know, Mr. Bean. But a local person. So if you can find someone who is locally doing content, and or if you have someone that your sales rep met with or that you met with, like, oh, wow, this house is really nice and I love what they're doing to it. This is gonna look fantastic. If that person can create content and you can even just do it for cost, we don't have to necessarily even give people something for free all the time. Sometimes we gave things for free at Great Day, but most of the time we just gave a really big discount or gave them the product for cost. It generated, again, this was Universal Windows at Great Day, and it generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in business every year. But what we got from it was the content, and like really great content of people walking around their houses saying, look how ugly these windows are, talking about the experience of the Universal guy coming and replacing the windows. And so I don't think this even needs to be all that complicated. This is something that anybody can do. If you're replacing windows for a neighbor or for your parents or for a friend, you can ask them to do it, or you can even get a spokesperson and pretend it's their house. It doesn't have to be a real influencer necessarily. There are ways that you can sort of cheat the system to create really good content and still have a spokesperson talk about your product. And it just feels so much more authentic than you telling, or someone else tells your story for you.
So Chris, Rich, Brian, and Amy will be back at 1:30, and we're going to steer the conversation into AI and new tech and how that is impacting lead gen. Right before that, we have Michael Hoyt from Windorama. And right now, at 12:15, it's time for lunch. We'll see you back here at 1. Big round of applause for these guys.
Good job, man. Careful.
Those chairs.
I know, they are a little tippy.